Hello, Paso. This is Wicked Ink 915, tattoo artist out of the borderland. I specialize in custom tattoos and digital art for band logos, business logos, and personalized art. Find me on Instagram at Wicked Ink underscore 915 or under Wicked Vinyl Creation to schedule appointments for your next tattoo or to get your personalized merch such as stickers, t-shirts, mugs, and patches. Thank you and have a great day.
Welcome back to the BAMC Showcast. We're here at our home, the Rock House Dive Bar Kinchi venue. It is a Thursday here in January 2025, first show of the year. My guest this time, the 2024 Battle of Bands Champions at Lowbrow Palace, a minor in cryptozoology. Welcome to the show, guys.
Yeah! Thanks for having us.
Woo! Anytime, guys. Well, we don't have any videos. So let's just go one by one, introduce everyone.
Hi, I'm Cryptocabra. I'm the singer.
Hello, I'm Tick. I play guitar.
I'm Chris. I bang drums.
Charlie, drama, guitar.
And William, play the bass.
You guys can take it down and pass it by hand if it's easier.
Oh, okay.
That looks really hard what you're doing.
That's a struggle.
Okay. So I know you guys been busy lately. You guys have a show coming up. Was it the end of the month?
Yes, we have a show the 24th here at Rock House. So
Read off the lineup for the guys, or what you remember.
hold on. Here
So Friday the 24th, right? Or is that Thursday? Friday. Okay.
This is us over here, and then another promoter that you can do the DJ sets in between. So, like first show, a small show, we're gonna have long sets that be like an hour worth of time, so that'll be fun.
Nice.
To really express the hard music and our stuff out there for the time.
Try to get a little closer to the mic.
We could do it. We just we're a little old and tired.
Oh, fuck. That's gonna be fun, but it's this is our first time doing an hour, right?
Yeah.
So is it our originals or a little bit of a cover slipped in there, or what's the plan?
Covers, a couple of new songs. Doing it in
Nice. Now, Zeke, you told me after that Battle of Bands you guys won, you guys were going to hit the studio. So are you guys in the process of recording, or?
He recorded 3 of the songs already. At Sonic Ranch, and it was fucking fantastic when they got there. Huge place, a lot of cats. It was a fun time. Oh, we went to Wondering, and they gave us all the instruments. Like, you can pick any instrument you want to record yourselves with. And we're like, sure. So who was it? You picked up the bass, Will?
Yeah.
He picked up a bass, and it was like, damn, it's a nice ass bass. How much is it? It was like $4,000. It was like, I can play this? I was like, yeah. I was like, David Bowie's old bass. And I was like, what? Like, he's like, oh yeah, David Bowie used to play here. We're all flabbergasted.
So yeah, we were getting set up for sound check for recording, and the engineer was like, oh, your bass player, we'll get you set up, and walk over there, and he's like, yeah, I got this jazz bass for you, Fender, and he's like, yeah, it was belonged to the bass player who played on David Bowie's last album. And I was like, he was like, is that good enough for you? I'm like, sure. I think it'll be all right. Yeah, I think this will work just fine. So, but that was an awesome experience to record at Sonic Ranch, and we were able to do 3 songs there, and we've done the rest of the songs DIY with our buddy Drama here, a guitar player who's been producing and mixing those songs for us. And so
I'm glad you brought that up. So Drama, I heard you had your own equipment. Well, let's talk about your story, because you kind of went from a fill-in guitar to an additional guitar player. Am I right?
Yes, basically, I met these guys when I moved back out here from Chicago, and Tick was going at it. He was going to work at a remote job in Alaska for about 3 months or 4 months, something like that. Oh, 9 months?
That long? Wow.
So, and we were all getting along really well. So they asked me to fill in for him, and then once he got back, then we would just be a 2-guitar band.
Nice.
Because the original guitarist is this guy Tavish. He dropped out, and that's when they got he was basically moving out of town. So, and then I joined, and then well, I started recording and then I joined and then Tick came back. And then we recorded 2 songs originally. Well, we recorded 4, but we released 2, and then after that we went in to record the full 9 songs that we had at the time.
So the original guy, did he ever play on stage with you guys? 'Cause I remember Tick, but I don't remember anyone until Drama came along.
No, so originally, and he's
It's close to playing live.
yeah. We literally we had 9 songs. We have the 9 songs that you mostly hear us play live, and the pandemic hit. Like it was literally just like March. We were just about ready to go play shows, and then pandemic hit, and so that put stop to everything. And then a few months into the pandemic, or not even, I think it was like in the beginning. Yeah, I think it was into the pandemic. He kind of was like, "Hey guys, I'm moving to Austin," and we're like, well, I guess we got to find a replacement. Like, so that was kind of the situation with that.
The first show we were going to play was going to be here at Rock House, and we were going to open up for the Skating Pollies. So I was excited. I was like, "Oh my god, this is great!" And then COVID happened. And I was like, "All right, I'll just take a week. All right, just to take 3 weeks. We're not going to play, are we, guys?"
Because I remember when you said you were starting a band and you were looking for a guitar player. I'm guessing that's after the first guy left.
Yes. Yeah.
And then I was the guy that filled in.
And then Tick filled in. And funny story, the only way we got Tick to get in the band is my girlfriend, Sharita. Shout out to Sharita. She's a funny comic. She was on Facebook, and I put the post out saying, "Hey, we need a guitarist." Tick's girlfriend at the time saw the post, started talking to my girlfriend, and they just started saying like, "Oh, my boyfriend's in the band." Well, my boyfriend's in the band. Well, your boyfriend needs a guitarist. Let me ask my boyfriend. And then Tick sent me a message. "Hey, you guys need a guitarist?" "Yeah, you want to come to practice?" "Sure, why not?"
Yeah, I didn't know any of these guys really prior. Like I'd met like Will a couple times before at shows like what was that place called, the Love Sprout? A few shows at the Love Sprout on the east side of town, and but like I really never met any of these guys beforehand. So like showing up to the first practice, like, oh, this is awkward. I don't know any of you guys, but like, just fucking do it. I ended up doing it, and now I love y'all. I love y'all so much.
So you guys vibe pretty well after the broke the ice? Or?
Oh yeah. Like it's been real easy making music with these dudes, and real easy hanging out with them. Like every practice is like we'll practice, but like 80% of it is fucking around. We're just like, we'll just start off playing something on the bass, and then Chris will hop on just playing or some kind of rhythm going on, and then we'll all just start jumping in, playing whatever. And that's like most of practice. And we're like, we're gonna do the songs now, right? We have to do a set this weekend, so let's work on that, and we'll do that once, and we'll go back to fucking around. Like that's just kind of how practice goes, and that's kind of how like what makes it so easy to like do stuff with them, because it's just like every member is vibing. Every member has like something to contribute, something different to bring to the table, and like nobody ever like crushes anybody or like chases away anybody's sunshine over it. We're just like, hey, I have an idea, let's do something cool. We always end up making something cool. Yeah, like, well, objectively. I like what we do. It might be different for other people, but like,
no. Yeah, and when you see us get on stage, I promise you, everyone always thinks we all are bandmates from like other bands, and we just happen to just make this band because none of us are like we belong together. None of us do. But it's cool that we can make it work.
Yeah, weren't you homeschooled?
Yeah. We ain't gotta bring up that right now. We can edit this out, right?
I'm just saying, man, different background.
Hey, he's asked a good question.
Right?
I'm thinking too from him.
Yeah, because every time these guys are playing a song, like we're practicing, right? They're playing like a cover song, and I'm like, oh shit, sweet. And they're like, you don't know that song? And I'm like, homeschooled. I didn't hear a lot of fucking songs. All right, I just like the beat though. But these guys they're helping me learn. They're helping.
You grew up me like you didn't hear it unless it was on the radio or someone brought the CD to a party.
Yep, exactly. Yep. And then some songs that I do know, just like, oh man, do you guys know like the Misfits? And they're like, Zeke, that's like 3rd grade. I'm like, well, I just found out like 2 years ago.
Zeke likes to like pretend he's like hanging out with the cool kids, but he's like the coolest.
And that's weird because I don't see that at all.
He does the karaoke. He does comedy. He does the punk bands now. He's doing all of the multi-talented things. And he's like,
yeah, I just knew you as Zeke the comedian. And I remember it was before you and Shooter were date. We were hanging out one time at it was Aaron, and I think it was Aaron. You popped into karaoke.
Yeah.
And I started seeing you more at karaoke.
Yep.
And then next thing you're starting a band, then you're KJing.
Yeah. Jack of all trades, man.
Yeah, I could add the first time I met Zeke, I saw him karaoke, and I thought this guy is friggin' amazing. And then I came out for a visit, and I actually heard them jamming, but I didn't actually go and watch them play. They were just having practice. So I go back to Chicago and I see them play, and I'm watching these guys jam, and I see Zeke coming. I'm like, oh man, they got that guy! Like, holy smokes! Like,
Then it was funny because at the time where Chris used to live, Drama was like 2 houses down, hanging out with some friends, and he heard our music. And our boy Eli showed up, and Eli just walked. Have you met Eli? Got the leather jacket, glasses, always wears like a bullet belt.
Okay, I think
Yeah.
from not that therapy, from Shadow Valley, Eli?
No. He's like a little local tattoo artist, punk guy. Well, you'll see him around. Well, yes, he is. Yeah. So when we're practicing, love you, Eli. When we're practicing, this little knucklehead just walks up with a tequila bottle, walks into Chris's garage, has no idea who we are, just walks in and goes, "You guys are playing good music. Zeke, is that you?" And I'm like, he's like, "What the fuck are you doing here?" He's like, "Bro, I heard good music." So,
Practicing at his house.
oh, that's right.
Yeah.
We did. Yeah, we practiced at Eli's house for months. That's right. We had a good time there too.
Was he ever a member? Was he like an unofficial member or just?
What is he? What is he?
I really can't like. We love Eli, and he's amazing, and yeah, he's our hype man. He's probably like our biggest fan. There's a couple times where he's jumped on stage to sing Steven Seagal with us. Yeah, that's what he loves to do. But he's the best, honestly. Love him.
that's actually how that's my connection to Zeke. Is when I went to karaoke that night, I was hanging out with Eli. Me and Eli go way back.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. In a lot of ways, if I wouldn't have knew him, I probably never would have heard of these guys.
So how did the rest of you guys form? So we know your backstory, how you entered. So how did you link up with the rest of these dudes?
Well, he got started off first. He started.
Well, like it when we met, like I've known Chris since high school, so we go far back, and then because the guy who started the band Tavish, he was starting being homeschooled, which led to him meeting Zeke. And so me, yeah. So without the homeschool, this band doesn't. There's no connection. But yeah, we had jammed early on in our my early 20s. But then, Tavish wanted to start a band, and he kind of formed a band with the members. Me and him used to play in a band before this one, and he wanted to start a band with Chris, and he suggested Zeke to be the singer. And I'd never heard Zeke sing before then. And I was just kind of like, I guess, I've never heard him sing, but it's been a blessing because it's also like, honestly, like without Zeke, I don't think this band would be nearly as good as it is now. So that's kind of like an important thing where I didn't have the year that everybody else heard him sing. So it's been a blessing. But yeah, I guess go homeschool.
Now it's like a homeschool battle of bands where y'all link up and play your instruments.
No, we all played the kazoos. No, Tavish homeschooling. Just me and Tavish would hang out, walk around, and then these guys would get out of high school. So me and Tavish like lived around Hank's high school. So we'd walk down the road and go hang out with them after high school. And Tavish used to live down the street from your parents. That's right, Chris. And we would just always hang out. So years later, after when life happens, Tavish just forms a band. So he calls me. We go to Will's house. Chris is there. And we're like, all right, let's try this. And when we first played, we're in this small little room. Everyone's in a corner of the room. And it's loud. So all you just hear is, blah, 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 blah. And I'm trying to sing, and I can't hear myself for shit. They're like, that's good practice. All right, Zeke, you're in. They're like, what? I didn't hear a fucking thing I said. You guys, okay, all right, I'm down. Let's keep doing this. And then the more we practiced, the more we played, we started filling each other out. And then it worked. It just fucking worked. It went together like peas and carrots.
Tell the listeners what the original name of the band almost was.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, which one?
I don't know one.
The one that I was like, no.
The best one.
The Bum Pirates one?
Yes.
The BPFOS for life, yo.
Pirates,
So that name, that's not necessarily was the name of this band, but it was the name of the
We had
previous
a
band.
working of it.
Yeah. So we were originally Butt Pirates from Outer Space, and then we had a lot of dumb names. And we still do. Like we still have it. Like I love our name, but I do admit that it's dumb and it's pretty long, and it's like unnecessary, but honest. But it works, and I think people remember us for it. So
I'm tired of the punk names anyway. We have like the. Sorry.
Take
Tired
two.
of those the punk names anyway. They always have those names that start with the. It's kind of nice to be in a band where
The virus.
the Hot Box. That's my other band.
Yeah, that's like first time I saw you play. I think it was B17's the Hot Box. I want to say it was right before COVID. Like,
It was a little bit before. I remember that show. Yeah, that was cold that night. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The Oyster Bar, right?
Yeah.
That was a cool show. I remember that. Damn, that was a good show. Thanks for bringing that up. Yeah.
Anytime.
Yeah, yeah, that was I've been playing with the Hotbox for a minute. I was with them for about 3 years before I joined AMIC, and now I don't know how much time has passed by. Time seems to be like, who fucking cares anymore? I don't know how much time has gone by since we've been together. 3?
Yeah, right.
2021. All right then, yeah. So 6 years with Hotbox, dude.
I think the weirdest story is the anomaly that I am for being the drummer for this band, because I used to play drums back in like high school and stuff like that, and then I stopped in my 20s completely. So I hadn't touched my drums for almost 10 years at that point, to a point where I almost like sold them at a pawn shop and stuff at one point because I wasn't using them and stuff like that. But I kept them, and then Tavish and Will had their band, but then their singer moved to Austin, and then Tavish wanted to start up a band again, but the drummer they had before, they would have like practice issues with him showing up and stuff like that. So he's like, "Hey, I want to like Chris to drum," and I was barely starting to get back into it at that point. And the way that happened was a funny story as well, because we're actually here at a show at the Rock House that night, and Will and I are hanging out outside. We come to a show, and this other guy, local guy Yogi's here, and he's talking to Will, and I'm around the scene a lot and stuff like that, but I'm not like I don't know a lot of people and stuff like that. I'm just kind of here and there as it goes because I have a busy outside life. And they start talking like Will's like, "Oh, are you guys still jamming? Like, you have a new band?" He's like, "Well, yeah, we're looking to work in a band." And Yogi's like, "You can't quit. Like, you're so good. And you got to keep playing." And he's like, "Are you gonna do another band?" And Will's like, "Well, yeah, we have ideas." Like, "Oh, who's in the band?" It's like, "Oh, it's gonna be Tavish." And then like we still gotta get our drummer. It's like, "Who's gonna be drummer?" And he's like, "Well," and like Will just like turns to me. He's like, "Do you want to be our drummer?" And I was like, "Oh, my bad. Okay, cool." I was like, "I didn't know." And so it was kind of a really cool blessing in disguise though, because like I thank these guys because I picked up my skills and I've gotten so much better, and they've been patient with me to get good at drums and like get my rhythm back and stuff like that. And
Patient with each other.
yeah, true that. Patient with each other.
We all go off on tangents. We're not feeling ourselves, and we're like, "Hey, man, got this."
Yeah. And then
Oh, yeah.
from there, I just kept doing it, and I've kind of become the glue in the band. Like the best way to put it, like not necessarily keeping people in line, stuff, but just being like, "Hey guys, like we could do this."
You are kind of our den mother. You're like, "Hey, let's schedule this. Let's do Battle of the Bands. Let's do a Tiny Desk concert." And like that's all you. That's all you.
Yeah, Chris, we wouldn't have played in that Battle of the Bands if it wasn't for Chris. He signed it up. He did the whole thing, and we were just looking at it like we could play at the Lowbrow. You know what I mean?
Now, how does that work? Because I noticed like you guys aren't playing this year, so once you win, you can't go back. Is that how it works? Or?
Yeah, that's definitely the thing. One thought.
well, I assumed that. Like I assumed that it wasn't gonna be like once you win it, you can't do it again.
Yeah. I will say this is no like slight to lowbrow or anything of the Battle of the Bands, but the way they kind of run it is just really awkward. Like they put the post out for it, and it was like the 9th annual one, which I didn't even know they've been doing it for 9 years at that point. And I was like, "Oh, there's a Battle of Bands with lowbrow. Okay, cool." And like you read the stipulations, it's like, yeah, and it didn't say if you won this Battle of the Bands. It said if you won a Battle of the Bands, you can't participate. And I was like, yeah, I was like, what? Like, do they know if you won like one in Albuquerque or
Kokomo,
California?
Indiana, or something.
Yeah, yeah. It could be a local Battle of Bands at like an open mic or something. I don't know. Like the stipulations weren't great on it, and I was like, well, we haven't won one, so I was like, I'll tell these guys, like, let's just join. Like we had to create like a media press kit, and I was like, I'll take care of that stuff. I'll do it. And everyone's like, and like Will, and everyone's like, that kind of sounds like a lot of work. I was like, look, I was like, I mean, worst case scenario, like we just go on stage and we bomb, or we go on stage, we sound good, and we have a chance to like get either new fans or like other people who are promoters to just start recognizing this. So we have chances for better options. And I was like, what's the worst if we lose? It's for free. We're not paying anything for it. And hey, if we sound good, we can at least sound good at the lowbrow because they have a good sound system out there. So why not?
What's the daddy done first?
Yeah, honestly, when he was like, I'm gonna do this because he wanted to do it the year before, but we didn't make the deadline. It was like passed. But when he signed us up this time around, I was like, my thought process was like, you know what, we're not gonna win. We're not even gonna get past the first round. So like, let's have fun with it. Like I almost stopped them from like signing us and stuff. I was like, it's no point. No one's gonna care about the punk band. But like obviously we'd end up winning. So it's like kind of like egg on my face where it's just like, I guess you were right, Chris, because we were able to record it like a dream like scenario.
Tell them what you did.
Oh no, that was the show. That was the first round. So I remember we had this plan of like, we were gonna go from the second to last song into straight into to our last song, but there's gonna be in the intro we were gonna basically just say, hey, we're Minor In Cryptozoology. This is our last song, and when that happened during the live show, I looked over at Zeke and I realized he was kind of like gassed. So I just stepped up to my mic and I just remember yelling. I just remember being like, we're Minor In Cryptozoology. This is our last song. And I just remember hearing this roar coming back from the crowd. Like, never experienced that in my life. Like, it's like a once in a lifetime kind of moment. Well, hopefully not. But for me, yeah, it was like, it felt like I've never felt that. And I just blurted out, I love you guys. And I was like, because it was like, honestly, like, that was one of the, yeah, it was like a religious moment. Like when a crowd reacts like that, it's really like a genuine like moment of just like, I can't believe this is happening. You know what I mean? Like for me, it's like had we not gone on to the final or not won, that like experience alone was enough.
So which round was this?
This was the first round. This was because they have.
Again, it's weird how they run the things because they have 5 rounds in quotes, but it's really just every round is 8 bands, and then they choose a total of up to 10 bands. This year they did 10, yeah, but like last year was 8, but they did it up to 8 to 10 bands for the final. But it was out of all 5 rounds that they played in, so you had like 40 bands pretty much go up against each other, and they chose the final 8 for the next. And that was it. Like we were on round 5 because they just didn't order from like filling up the roster.
Okay.
And we were on the last round of it and stuff like that. And so we play and we find out that night that we're moving on to the next one. So it's like, okay, cool. Like we're moving on to the next round. And then from there, we'll see if we go to the finals. And they're like, no, the next round is the finals. And it's like, yeah. And then it was like literally the next week. And we're like, wait, what? It's like, yeah, you're in the finals. I was like,
So who was it against? You guys in the finals? You and
Honey and Verosa was there.
Honey and Verosa was there.
well, I had Boosty made it, didn't he? Was he final?
Bootsy was there. Big Cinnamon was another one. Shoot, who was it? Here, go. I can find it.
Well, I was just like spitting out words to help me remember the name of it, but it was the one with that band with had the female singer. She had the short hair. Pretty Sour. I dug Pretty Sour, and that band that my homie, my friend from high school. Oh wait, here we go. Yeah, Big Cinnamon, Boosty, Collide the Gemini, Honey and Verosa, us, Pretty Sour, Roy Ellis, and Stony Bluefish.
Roy Ellis.
Yeah, Roy Ellis tore it up. Yeah, I remember that.
You should go next year. You just wear a mask and then be butt parts on his face.
No, because it's gonna be like, why is that guy walking like Zeke? He has a twin brother. Don't look at me. Don't mind me, sir. He's just drunk.
No, we'll say your legs broke. We'll sit you down in the chair, Axl style.
I'm down. I'm down. See- I'm totally down. And it was funny because this year, me and Chris, we went to the Battle of the Bands just to go see who was playing. And his homie, was it Chris? He was in Bloomwave. Fucking badass band. They're amazing. Well, when we get there, we walk up to the front desk, and I was like, damn, should we say that we won? Chris is like, nah, we'll just pay the tickets. So I'm like, all right. So I go back out there later. I'm like, hey, so the winners of last year, did we get in for free? And they're like, how much did you pay? We're like, $12. They go, oh, we should have charged you 20. And I was like, oh shit, I'm glad I didn't say that. And when we're walking in there, we're talking to his friends and other people. They're like, you guys should have joined. Your band's pretty cool. You guys could have made it. Like, I'm pretty sure I heard your guys' band before. I mean, if you guys would have played, you guys probably could have made it. And me and Chris are like, yeah, it's crazy. We could have made it. That's fucking crazy. And then some random guy comes out of nowhere and goes, oh shit, a Minor In Crypto Zoology, you guys won last year. And everyone's like, wait, you guys won last year? That was you guys? It was. It was. Me and Chris didn't say shit. We're just like, yeah, it's crazy, man. It's like, maybe next year we'll try. I don't know. We'll try. But nobody knew that we won last year. I'm trying not to. But it was fun. And there's a lot of good bands there. But Bloomwave, they got my vote. They were really good that night. Very good. Yep, playing with them on the 24th. So yeah, it's gonna be cool.
Actually, that band and the tournament's still going on now, right? Or is it
The final.
Is it this weekend?
Or is it just then? I saw a bunch of posts. I didn't really follow.
Mm.
The only name I recognized was Ness. Shout out Ness Daniels.
Yeah.
Showcase alumni.
Yeah. So hopefully, good luck to her. She wins it. Have fun at Sonic Ranch, or whoever wins it. Have fun at Sonic Ranch. Be nice to the kiddies. Don't throw. Oh my God, bro! Holy shit! Okay, we're telling this fucking story. Okay, so when we're when we're out there at Sonic Ranch, right? We're hanging out there. I think it's our second day out there recording, right? And okay, we're hanging out, right? And now our engineer, what was it? His name Jerry? Josh. Shout out to Josh, badass. Takayo. Josh is like, all right, guys, if you guys want to party and do drugs, you're more than welcome to. If you smoke cigarettes, do it outside. And we're like, okay, we can respect that. So me at the time in drama, we're smoking cigarettes and Tick. I didn't think about it. I didn't think about it. Maybe I threw maybe one or two. Wasn't thinking about it, whatever. Well, the owner shows up. What's his name? Tony. Now, if anybody knows Tony from Sonic Ranch, he's a character. He's a character. He has his own mood swings and just things about himself. So the engineer, Tony, walks in. He's all like, "Who are you guys?" And we're like, "Oh, we're the band who won Battle of the Bands." What does that mean to me? Who are you guys? And we're like, Minor In Crypto Zoology? We're a punk band? All right. Where's the what did he say? He's like, where's the money? But he didn't say money. He said like the where the finances? Where's the finances? And I'm like, excuse me, what do you mean? The money. Who's paying for all this? The money. And at the time I'm outside talking to Tony, I'm like, oh shit. I was like, you know what? Let me introduce you to Chris, because he talked to the guy from Lowbrow, and he can tell you more than that. So when I walk inside, I go, Chris. And right when I say his name, Chris just took a fat hit off of a bong, and he goes, oh, he was taking dabs. And he's all like, yo, what's up, Zeke? I'm like, Tony's outside. He wants to talk to you. You got to sober up. He goes, okay, let's see what happens. All right, now continue the story.
And it wasn't like him walking in. It's like a fucking a cartoon where the door is behind me right here. I'm facing this way, and then the door slightly opens. I'm hitting the dab that Tia hooked up with me because I finished all my tracks. So I'm done. I could just chill. They could do their thing. I'm just gonna enjoy my time here and have a good time, right? So I'm hitting his dabs multiple times, having a good time, and then I just see the door slightly open, and I was like, okay. And Zeke just popped his head in, not even his whole body, just his head, and I'm like, okay. And he's like, Chris, and I'm like, what? And he's like, Tony's here. And I was like, who's Tony? And he's like, the guy who owns Sonic Ranch. And I was like, oh, okay, because on Thursday, I talked to Tony on the phone. I talked to Tony and one of the other main dudes of Sonic Ranch there on the phone, and I reached out to Lowbrow to find out when we're gonna do our recording there and stuff like that. And he's like, "Oh yeah, here you could talk to I think Mario is the other guy and everything." So I call them, and they're like, it's just like, "Hey, my idea, Sonic Ranch, huge place. I'm pretty sure they won't have us record for 6 months or something. You know what I mean? Because they're probably booked or whatever. You know what I mean? We're a small band, it's just one of the battle bands. You have actual professional people there, recording there.
Week after the finals.
And they were on the phone with them. I'm at work at the time, when I'm talking to this phone call, and it's like, yeah, oh, we're going to get you. When do you want to come in? It's like, well, that's why I'm asking to call you guys to find out. And Tony's on the phone with me, and it's a 3-way call. And Tony's like, are you telling me when you want to record? I was like, no, sir, it's the opposite way around. I'm asking you, when do you want us to record and head in? That way we can schedule it and get our ducks in a line. And he's like, oh, okay. He's like, well, you guys could go ahead and just come in this weekend. And this was a Thursday when I'm on the call, and I was just like, what? And he's like, yeah. I was like, whoa, but we all work and stuff. I don't know if we can make this weekend. He's like, well, you guys, best of options is to come in this weekend. You have 5 days to record, 3 days to record, and 2 days to mix and master everything. And that's like the deal. And I was like, all right, cool. And I was like, well, let me see what I could do. I'll give you a call back. And so I reached out to these guys, like, hey, they want us to record this weekend. I don't know what you want to do. Well, can you call into work, or like, what are we doing here? Like, how are we gonna get this going? Because they want us now, and I mean, might as well take advantage of it if we can. And luckily, the stars ended up aligning somehow, some way. We all go to record, and so it's Sunday, the second day there, and that's when he popped his head and stuff. And I was like, all right, cool. Like, let me go talk to Tony. So I walk outside. I was like, hey, sir, how's it going? He's like, who are you? I was like, I talked to you on the phone, and I talked to I believe Mario on the phone all together, and it was about you wanted us to come in this weekend. He's like, oh, well, like, so this is your third day here, so you guys already almost done, right? It's like, no, this is probably our second day. Like, we just came in yesterday. And he's like, okay, so when will you be done? And I'm like, well, from my understanding, you said we have 5 days, like 3 days to record and 2 days to master. So we still have one more day where we can record and 2 days for the engineer, Josh, to mix everything. And he's like, okay, all right. And I was like, okay. And he's like, but who's paying for this? And I'm like, from my understanding, the lowbrow is paying for this because that was us for winning it. They gave us a recording session here. And he's like, I don't recall that. And I was like, okay. And he's like, who did you talk to? I was like, Christian Yanis is the person I talked to. Like, he's the person from the lowbrow. And he's like, oh, he's like, well, he's like, yeah, he's like, I know who Christian is. And I was like, yeah, that's who scheduled this and got in contact with me, got us in contact and everything. And beforehand, for the whole lowbrow thing, it was all through emails. So when we're doing all this stuff, I was doing it through our band's email, but I have access to it, and I would talk to Christian through email and discuss that because we actually won money too as well for it. So we had to figure out how to get the money and all that stuff. And I was like, yeah, okay, yeah, go. Christian set this all up, and he's like, well, can you call him? And I was like, well, no, like I've only been talking to him in emails, like we haven't talked in person or anything like that. And he's like, well, in today's life, you're supposed to have a phone number so you could contact him. And I was like, I just stayed quiet. In my head, I'm like, in today's life, everyone does like text messages, emails, like because you have like a paper trail or something like that. You know, like something to back up. Like a phone call kind of means nothing anymore nowadays. But okay, cool, whatever. So that's what he says. And I was like, okay. I was like, I don't have his number. And I was just like, he's like, well, you need to get a hold of him. I was like, it's Sunday, sir. I've only talked to him on weekdays, like regular workday weekdays, Monday through Friday. So I don't know if he's gonna have access to his work email, if it's his work email or not. But I can email him and go from there. And he's like, okay, well, you better get a hold of him, and you're gonna stay out here, and everyone needs to stop everything. So we had to stop all our recordings. We're all just waiting.
He pulled us all outside.
Yeah, he pulled everybody outside, and I'm just there like, oh my god, what am I gonna do?
We got busted or something.
And mind you, this is high as fuck at the moment. He is high as fuck, bro. Okay?
And like, I just started look. I was like, all right, well, I started looking up the lowbrow. I started looking for Christian's info wherever I could find it. Whether I started looking like on like LinkedIn and everything, like any way I could try to find his number to just call him. And then one of our friends from the Hotbox, Edie, was there because she was doing backup vocals for one of our songs. And she's talking with her boyfriend in the corner, and I just kind of hear him talking. He's like, "Oh, maybe you could find him through Facebook." And I was like, "Oh, fuck, let's go Facebook." So I go, I find him, I send him the email, I send him the message. I tried calling him on Messenger, but he has it blocked. It's like, makes sense, dude. There's a big dude at the lowbrow, so I'm pretty sure he doesn't want people calling him. And so I just message him through that and everything. And then he finally he ends up emailing me back. He's like, "Hey, I'll get a hold of Tony. We'll square this away and all this stuff." I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." And before he emails you that, like, I told him, hey, I've emailed him, I've messaged him, like, I've reached all my resources to get a hold of him. So we just gotta wait now. And he's like, oh, Tony's like, okay. Well, like, how long does he take to respond? And I was like, again, it's a Sunday. I don't know if he responds to these on the weekend. Like, I don't know. And he's like, okay. Well, this is what we'll do. And I was like, okay. He's like, y'all can go back to recording, pointing to the band and everyone else. Y'all can keep going. You're going to stay out here with me until we get a hold of them. And I was like, oh, fuck. And like in my head, I'm like, this guy's playing mind games here. He's isolating me away from everyone else. And like, and in my head, we had won $1,000. And I was like, if we have to, I'll use that $1,000 to pay for our session, whatever it will pay for. We'll figure out the rest of the money. I have some money. We'll figure it out, right? Like we'll figure it out. I'll try to talk to doing payments if I have to. Like that's what I'm thinking in my head.
I would have said, "Fuck you guys, we're gonna do this ourselves." I would have made you do that.
Thank you. And so like I'm just out there by my side with him, and he has like his assistant next to him, and there's another band reporting to us. What's the band? Dexter and the Moon Rocks.
Fucking awesome band. I love that band.
They're awesome. They're cool. Like we got to hang out with them and stuff like that. The first when they were recording the studio next to us, the producer who does Red Hot Chili Peppers albums was producing their stuff next door to us.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and so it was. And so like I'm waiting outside, and finally I get that email back from Christian, and then he ends up messaging me back on Messenger. So I was like, hey, don't worry, this is be all squared away. And I was like, okay, cool. And all of a sudden Tony's phone rings, and like he's talking to the assistant, just mind his business. And I'm just kind of out there like just scrolling my phone. I'm high. I don't know what I'm doing this like, and like he's asking questions. He's like, well, who's gonna pay for this? Like, who's gonna pay my engineer? I was like, from what I understand, it's the low bro. I was like, if not, let's find out what happens. And from there, like I was in full boss mode, like the most adult thing I've ever done in my entire life was then, and I was blown out of my mind at the same time, and I was still able to get this done and just keep like a professional straight face towards him, not like crack or anything. And I was just like, all right, cool. I'm like looking him in the eye and everything, like just being like, all right, I'm not gonna succumb to this guy, even though he owns this place and like all this stuff. But and then
High pressure situation.
literally high pressure.
You know when a rich guy starts getting weird and he has guns on the property, that's when I start sweating.
And so his phone rings, and it's Christian. He puts it on speaker, and he's like, hey, this is Christian. What's up, Tony? He's like, hey, Christian, how's it going? He's like, yeah. He's like, yeah, so what's going on? He's like, oh, yeah, the band there, Minor In Cryptozoology, they're doing they want to battle the band, so they're doing the recording session. He's like, oh, okay, yeah, I remember. And I just look at him like, are you kidding me? Like, I was like, I talked to you on the phone about this. Like, in my head, I'm like, I'm talking to you on my phone about this, and they explained that to you earlier, and okay, whatever. I was like, whatever.
There's a non-zero chance he was just fucking with you, just because that's just maybe that's
A
just
power move, maybe. And so he starts talking on the phone, and she was like, yeah, he's like no, we already sent you the money, like it's paid for and stuff like that. You said about paying your engineers, so like I don't know how you want to do it. We actually just send it to the band member through like Cash App, whatever, and he could pay the engineer. Or I could send it to you, and you could pay him. And then Tony's like, no, you can send it to the band, and they could just pay my engineer. Like he'll be fine that way. And he's like, all right, cool, sounds good. And like they keep talking, and he just starts walking away, and like goes back into his BMW with the assistant, and just kind of drives off into the sunset. And I was just like, I literally just look around, and I'm just like, we're good. I was like, we're good. And then I just go inside, and like I just see everyone staring at me. And I walk in, they're like, what? I was like, we're good. Let's fucking go. And I was like, Tick, I need you to load up that dab because I need to have a good. I need to relax.
Like I could add to like I don't know, playing in this band is a lot like being on a TV show. That's been my experience so far. So the episode is we're all chilling at Sonic Rash is going awesome, we're all having a blast. And then the cliffhanger ending is he pulls us all outside, and it's like we got busted by the cops or something. And then that's how the episode ends on a cliffhanger, right? And then the next episode starts as Chris like talking his way out of it, and then like.
And then the next day when we're doing the mixing, Tony shows up again out of nowhere. He shows up again, and we're all doing like the last harmonizing parts on one of the songs. And then Tony's talking to Will's already done. Will's just sitting on the couch. So when Will's sitting there, I see Will just sit there, and he just goes. Like he kind of sits up a little bit, and I'm like, "The fuck?" And I look at him, I'm like, "Oh shit, it's Tony." Tony's talking to the engineer and just doing like this, and all of a sudden he just goes into the room, opens the door, and goes, "Hey, you guys!" And we all stop singing. We're like, "What's up, Tony? Who smokes cigarettes out here?" And we're like, 2 of us, 3 of us. You guys are just gonna throw cigarette butts all over the floor outside? That's disrespectful. And we're like, "Bro, they're already here." Like we didn't say it out loud, but like they're already here before like we got here.
Yeah, I had to deal with that because like everybody else was recording, and they pulled me because like they had asked the other guys who smoke, and they're like, and he basically told me, he's like, you got to pick up every cigarette butt on this premise. And I'm like looking around, like, dude, this is like 2 recording studios with like years of musicians recording. So the whole place is just covered in cigarette butts that are like older than who knows how. You know what I mean? Like, but he is legitimately one of the most intense human beings I've ever dealt with. Like he just stares you down, and it's just like it's just an uncomfortable situation when he's not happy.
So then we're out there all picking up cigarette butts, right? We're putting them in cans. I get to the point where I'm getting mad, so I start picking up all the cigarette butts, and there's a camera right out the door. So every time I pick up a cigarette butt, I throw it in the can and look and shake it at the camera like this. Be like, there, you fucking cigarette butts. So then Tony leaves. We're recording again. Tony comes back the next day, and we're like, fuck, what did we do now? Like, Jesus, Tony's gonna be mad as fuck at us. Oh, thank you, sir. I was like, what the fuck do we do now? Like, damn it, Tony's mad at us. He just comes in, he sits down, he tells the engineer, he's like, play it. He starts playing the song. Tony listens like 30 seconds and goes, yeah, sound pretty good. And then he just leaves. He just leaves. And that was the last we ever saw Tony. And then our engineer, Josh, is like, he likes you guys. And we're like, really? he likes us? He goes, bro, he listened to 30 seconds. You know how many times Tony comes in and goes, play something. I push play. 5 seconds. He's like, all right, that's enough. That's enough. All right. Yeah, y'all have a good day. You guys got 30 seconds. He likes you guys. And we're like, oh, okay. That's cool. All right. And then it got to the point. Shout out to Tony. It got to the point when they would have like breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So if you stayed there throughout the whole day, they had like another house they had like cooks that would cook food and stuff like that for you. So on the third day when we got there, you eat your food, you leave your plates on the table and take your drinks, and like they'll have people come pick up your dish and wash your dishes. Well, on that third fucking day for meeting Tony, bro, all of us one by one took our plates into the kitchen, washed our own plates, hung them up, hit the silverware, the cups, and the cleaning people are like, you don't have to do that. No, it's okay. We want to do it. It's totally fine. Don't tell Tony. It's totally fine. Don't worry about it.
You're gonna wash them anyway. You just do it right.
Yeah, right. So yeah, shout out to Sonic Ranch. Don't piss off Tony.
If like, anyone ever gets a chance to record at Sonic Ranch, it is like a life-changing experience. Like, it's the first time in my life, and I'm pretty sure it'd be for all you guys, where you kind of feel like a rock star, like you're actually doing something, because we lucked out. Josh, shout out to Josh, he was a fantastic engineer, but he showed us the ropes. He was so humble. He was so great for like setting everything up for us and like showing us around. And when he showed us the different studios, and that's when he was talking about earlier how you could choose the instruments you wanted. And so they had a drum set already set up for me that they brought. And he's like, yeah, you get whatever cymbals you want, whatever snare drums you want, stuff like that. And I was like, oh shit, all right. And so he's like showing me a couple snares. I'm getting cymbals at one thing. I'm grabbing them up, and he shows me this one snare, and he's like, check out this snare. And I was like, all right. And he's like, try and pick it up, and it's like on the stand. I was like, all right, cool. So I go to pick it up, and I'm like, and I have to lift it. I think it was like almost 50 pounds for a snare drum. And I was like, what is wrong? Like, what is this? He's like, oh yeah. He's like, we call it the Alaskan snare drum because it's made out of Alaskan pipeline for oil. And he's like, it's a like cylinder made of that. We ended up adding snare heads on it and stuff like that. And it has this really sound. So I started playing on it, and I was like, this sounds really cool. Like, it's clean, kind of trashy with a little bit of grindiness. And I was like, I really like this. I was like, I want to use it. He's like, all right, cool. And so I like have like a couple cymbals in my hand. I have the snare, and I'm like walking like this, like through the studio. And he's like, Josh looks like, what are you doing? And I'm like, well, we'll take it back to the studio, all right? And he's like, no, just leave it. And I'm like, but how are we gonna get it back to the studio? He's like, the assistants will take it. Like, I'll just tell them to go, and they'll just take it to you. We're about to head to lunch, so they'll pick it up, and it'll be at the studio when you get there. And I was like, what? No, like they don't have. I'm like, they don't have to do that. Like, I got it. It's cool. Like, they're already working hard. He's like, no. It's like, leave it there. And I was like, okay, yes, sir. And sure enough, we go to lunch, come back, and everything is there in our recording studio. So I just go and start setting everything up. Like this is like amazing experience. Like, if the setup was different for us, that each studio has a house you could stay at, and our house was filled with all of our amps of that because he liked us playing. He wanted us to record live because he thought we had better like sound coming out live, playing together and stuff like that. So we couldn't use the house because all the amps were in each room of the other house next to it, and everything was just wired underneath. So it was crazy. But he was like, yeah, he's like, usually you can stay at the house, but I know you can. He's like, but if you guys want to, you could just sleep in the studio if you want. Like, you have 24 hours every time you're here to just be here as long as you want. And a couple of times I was tempted to just hang out and sleep there just because why not? But I was like, no, I'm going to go home. Like, we live here, so we could just go ahead and go home. But if anyone gets a chance to do it, it's like amazing. Like, I would recommend it 100%. Sonic Ranch is fantastic. I have nothing but great things to say about it.
I wonder what do they charge like a normal rate? Like I don't know if did they discuss the rates
For
with
the
you when you
room,
start bullet.
so for the room that we ended up recording in, which is one of those small rooms, which is still more than what we needed, was I think it was like 1,500 a day, and then like there's added like that's just a room, and I think like it was like a $60 or like $80 a day for the engineer, and then like other stuff like food and stuff like that was more additional. So something like that. I don't remember exactly how much it was.
That's a deal in these times, man.
Yeah. But yeah, it's I think
Yeah.
yeah. It was breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Yeah, it was awesome. I remember one night they brought us pizza. But it was but yeah, I think it's like 1,500 per day for the studio room.
So you finalized 3 songs there during those 3-day sessions or 5 days. I mean.
Yeah, so they let us do three songs. So no, like I don't think we would have been able to do it. Like even if they let us, because it was just like doing those three was already kind of like tougher than we thought it would be, just because it was such a professional setting, and it just took a while just to get everything set up sound wise.
So how many songs do you guys have total? Those 3 obviously, but like right now, currently, how many songs do you have in the can finalized?
For to release.
Yeah.
So we had those three, and then because before because we didn't think we were gonna be able to record a Sonic Ranch. We had recorded 9, so we obviously did those 3 at Sonic Ranch, and then we have another 6, which we released. We've released Out the Front Door, Anime, and um,
The Showtime.
Cold Blooded Love, which was recorded at Sonic Ranch. We re-recorded Showtime, so we're gonna release that. But then we also released Fire in the Sky, and I think the next song we're gonna release sometime this month will be Steven Seagal.
Let's say when's that one coming out?
Yeah.
Yeah, basically, right now we have out the album itself is called They Love, but we put the Sonic Ranch session out as the 3 songs. So it's They Love the Sonic Ranch sessions, which is on Spotify right now. Out of the songs we recorded on our own, we have Fire in the Sky, Steven Seagal's next, but pretty much all of those are in the can. We're just waiting to pop them out one at a time.
Is there gonna be a physical release, like a CD or a vinyl one day? Or?
Yes,
Awesome.
yes, sir.
Ready set tapes.
And
Hey,
also,
people do that.
Tracks.
also we have 4 songs done right now, brand new songs, and we're gonna start working on that stuff this year. And then we have so much material to go through. It's almost like every practice we come up with like more and more. It's getting out of hand almost. Like, you know what I mean?
Right?
But that's one of those good problems.
It's a very good problem to have.
Like, I'm so thankful for Drama because he'll record like all of our just practices and stuff like that. Because we probably have another 10 to 15 songs that we just gotta clean up, get down, and maybe get some lyrics into. And if it wasn't for Drama, like he's a smart one. He records all of our sessions and stuff like that. So that way we'll be like at practice, like, what was that song we made the other day? And Will's like, I don't know what I was doing. He's like,
Hold up, let me get it.
yeah. Drama's like, hold up, I got this, and he'll pull out his phone. And he'll like bring it out. It's like, oh, okay. I was like, I remember this, but I did not know that's what I was playing. But yeah, like it's really cool when it comes to like talking about earlier, like when we practice, like we'll do our songs we're gonna practice for our next show and stuff like that. But we end up just kind of going along and creating new stuff or working on the new stuff we're already doing every time. It's one of the coolest things about this band.
Yeah, I was gonna say I have a file on my computer that's just I gotta basically go through it and listen to each jam and like pull out all this stuff. I've done a little bit, but there's so much on there. It's like I said, it's one of those good problems, but at the same time,
No problem.
yeah. Well, it's just a matter of having the free time to do it. But we definitely these 4 songs that we wrote so far are friggin' dynamite. Like,
And I guess any of these new songs next
Oh,
year
yeah.
at Rock House, like the 24th. Any new song debuts or newer songs?
I think we played all of them so far because the 4 new songs is Kaiju Wipeout, 4 Quarters to Continue, Pretty Eyes, and what's the last one?
Tokyo?
No, we're not playing Lost in Tokyo yet.
Yeah.
What's the one that I'm trying to remember? Pretty Eyes.
Kaiju.
It's just a free.
Is it those three?
That's what we've been playing so
I thought it was more. Yeah. So those are the three like new
Yeah.
one.
Tokyo's almost there,
Yeah.
and Cole's almost there.
Or Copan. Because we can't help but to write songs about things that happened before even our time. So we're doomed. We're doomed to.
My family was 10, like planted 10, firmly 10 years into the past. we didn't
Say it.
we didn't get like CDs and DVDs and stuff until like everybody or I knew already had it, and then MP3s and iPods started coming out. We're like, oh, I finally can get a CD player or a DVD, or we can start watching movies on those discs they call DVDs. So I was behind.
So yeah, these songs would be fucking amazing. And then little fact: when we played at Sonic Ranch and we recorded Out the Front Door, Anime, and Cold Blooded Love, those are all three songs are relationship songs. The first one, Out the Front Door, is how you got found out cheating and then everything just went downhill. Anime is remembering the good times you had before you cheated. And then Cold Blooded Love is what happens when you just go off and try to figure out what next to do and you make a big mistake one night. So all three of those songs, they're about a whole relationship. It's about a relationship. And when we recorded it, I was like, fuck, we just did three like relationship songs back to back to back. And they're like, what are you talking about? And I explained to them that. They're like, shit, we did. Well, what are we gonna call it? And who called it They Loved? Who was the first one to make it? Was it you, Will? Well, I was like, well, we'll just call it They Love. And I was like, fuck, I did love. I mean, they did love.
Did you write most lyrics, or who writes what? I mean, as far as, like contribution wise, like are you primary lyrics, or
it's everyone's involved. Some of the songs I wrote myself, but sometimes I will say some lyrics and I'm like, it fucking works, and they'll be like, let's tweak it a little bit, and then like, okay, and it actually does work out better.
Typically, like just so I can take credit.
You earned it, buddy.
Typically, songwriting starts with
Use your own horn, sir.
I'll usually write a riff or I'll start. Depends on the song. Like a lot of like Anime is something that I had written for ages, but typically, what I'll try to do is I'll come up with a riff and I'll just play it at practice over and over and over until they start playing along with it, and then eventually it becomes a song. And like typically, Chris will jump into it. Like he'll start playing the drums, and then Chick and Drama will start doing their guitar parts. And so it's like I always kind of like feel like it's like building the house. Like I'll set the foundation, but they're the ones that set up like the the frame and the drywall, windows, and all that. You know what I mean? Like they make the songs sound pretty. I'm just there, just giving it the foundation. And then lyric wise, it's all over the place. Like a lot of it really depends on who comes up with the idea. If it's about love or heartbreak,
you've written the lyrics for some of the songs.
some of the songs I've written. Tavish wrote a couple with you. Like I said, if the song is about like heartbreak, it's usually Zeke. If it ends up like being about like aliens or anything like weird, it's me. Like Steven Seagal, that's something that Tavish came up with. That was just a random song that we actually played on our old band. We never played it live. Yeah, he's also a real life cryptid. But it's just one of those things where it's like whoever has that spark for the lyrics or whatever the song is.
It just comes up with that line.
The line, yeah, sometimes it's like a lot of times it's just like the five of us is in a room, just shooting stuff against the wall, hoping something sticks.
That rap.
The
Just like all three of us sitting in a room, like, how do we do rap?
Are you talking about tattoos or
Yes, we're
yeah?
talking about movies and tattoos.
Yes. Just trying to figure it out because sometimes it like particularly Zeke he'll just kill it the first time, but then sometimes it's just like we have to just keep writing it until it works.
The only problem with Zeke is like he'll kill like some lyrics stuff like that. I'm like, dude, what was that? He's like, I don't remember, and I'm like, nothing. He's like, I was just going along with it. It was cool, and I'm like, well, you said this and this. He's like, I kind of remember that. And I'm like, well, can you write it down? He's like, I didn't bring a book. I'm like, oh my god, dude.
That's what's good about getting Zeke in the studio. We like force him to actually write lyrics that he has to say over like
We
the
had to
same
like
thing.
lock him in.
Yeah, exactly. And Tick was talking about it earlier. Me, Tick, and Zeke had a session in the studio where we finished tattoos, and it was really magical. Like we all just put our heads together and came up with it.
Okay, so we've been playing for like 3 years, right? We played tattoos every time on stage. Every time. The song would change every single time because I couldn't finish the ending lyrics. I had one verse about tattoos and everything else I'd make up. And then the last part, it slows down to a ska part. It slows down to a ska part, and I would just rap. But every rap would be different every single time. Every single time. People are like, what are you saying? I'll be like, oh no, bro, I'm just lost in the moment, man. Sharita's the only one to be like, you had nothing, didn't you? I was like, I had fucking nothing. She's like, you change every fucking time. Write it down, Zeke, damn it. But thanks to Drama Tick for getting on my ass and then being like, let's write this shit out. So now we have it. It kicks ass.
Yeah. Also, when we started off, Chris and Will were there too, so we kind of all wrote.
Oh
that
yeah,
together.
that's right. So yeah.
Buy you a notepad for Christmas? Or
Huh?
they buy you a notepad for Christmas?
No, I just have a lot. We practice in my house. We practice in my house, so like I just started putting notepads and stuff out in
Dude, I
practice.
swear to God, also I'm like, oh, look at notepad.
Yeah, now there's writing utensils.
In the early days, we had what was called the Book of Gordon, which was a Jeff Gordon book that our guitarist had, and NASCAR Jeff Gordon.
They talked about that on Tavish's podcast too.
And he would lose, like he would just be like, I was like, "Where's the book with all the lyrics?" He's like, "Oh, it's in my truck. I'm not gonna get it." It's like, bring the Book of Gordon.
Here's the weird thing about that. When Tavish gave me the Book of Gordon, literally it was like a book he bought at Dollar General. It was one of those snap books, like you close it and it snaps closed. But it was it was a diary book, but it had Jeff Gordon from NASCAR. So we called it the Book of Gordon. I had the first one, I wrote the lyrics down, I lost it. And all of a sudden, months later, Tavish got me another Book of Gordon. Another exact same one. And I was writing everything down. And Tavish drew a picture of a Godzilla, but we called it Derpzilla because he had like a weird derpy face. And I was like, this is funny. We should use this as a sticker one day. Well, cleaning my truck one day, I found the other book of Book of Gordon. When I turned to page 16, on both pages, on both books, it's the same derpy Godzilla. So it's like a Mandela effect, like oh shit, or like a butterfly effect, like this has already happened before. This has already happened before. What the fuck? Wait a minute. So I have both of those books right now in my truck. So next time we have band practice, I'll just bring them both down and be like, I'm leaving these here. So when we need them.
Did that on purpose? Like you looked for page 16 and did it on both, like on the same page.
I think he did.
You did it on purpose.
I think he did because knowing Tavish.
I'm curious. This is the motivation of that thought process.
I gotta bring the books. I swear to God, you're gonna laugh. You're gonna be like, "What the fuck?" Like, and they look identical. It was just like months apart that he just drew another Derpzilla, and I'm like, "You did this before?" He's like, "No, I haven't." Like on the last Book of Gordon.
The number 16 means something.
So it's fun jamming with these guys because we just have weird moments. We just have weird, funny fucking moments, and it just turns into a good song. I don't know how we do it. We form like Voltron. It just works out. Like, oh my God. So, yeah.
If you guys want to add or any upcoming plugs or future projects or side projects, any Hotbox dates coming up? Or
Hotbox? Well, no. As of now, there's no Hotbox stuff going on, but I will bring up Tavish again. He's got a podcast, Brown Panda Podcast. You should check him out too if you aren't a listener.
all right,
He's a sweet guy.
check it out.
Oh hey, I follow you on Facebook, and I notice you meet a lot of wrestlers.
Yeah.
Who is the coolest wrestler that you met so far?
I don't know, man. Like as a kid, my favorite
Anybody
was,
stand out? Like
honestly, a lot of the deathmatch wrestlers are cool. Like Madman Pondo and Schlack. They're all cool as shit, dude. Like
yeah.
that's the most fun. Me and my buddy would go to Atlantic City. Wait, I didn't go this year because of our work situation. I'll leave, but they got the tournament survival. You'll go. You have a deathmatch tournament. Then there's a Hall of Fame. Then there's a late night show. Then there's Cage of Survival the next day. We didn't get to go this year, but we went the previous 2 years. So you get like 4 or 5 shows in like 1 week, and by the time you're done, you're exhausted. But it's right there in the hotel. It's pretty cool. So
Yeah. Awesome.
Let me know when you go. I want to go. I want to see a death match.
Also, I wanted to say, shout out to you. Just found out today that like my dad was your captain.
What?
Yeah, I just found out Tick's dad is a firefighter.
Yeah, my
What?
dad
Your dad's a firefighter?
was. He retired, but he was a captain in the
Shout
Fort
out
Bliss
to
Fire
you.
Department.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit.
So yeah, hey dad, if you're listening.
Yeah, and your brother's my coworker.
Yeah, and now my brother's his coworker. So my brother went into firefighting, and my dad used to be his boss.
Yeah, actually, because he retired, I actually gave him his plaque, his union plaque, and then he retired a little bit later. We did that first show detour where you guys headlined, and I was like, "Holy shit, Q started headline for me." And I had no freaking clue who he was.
Yeah, they call him Q. Hi dad, love you. Hi baby brother, love you too. All right. Anything else?
I gotta give your brother shit though, because we talk all the time about music, and you did the podcast first, so I'm gonna have to rub it in.
Yeah.
I think the final thing we could promote for the band is just follow us on any socials, especially when it comes to like Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, we're on all that stuff. Follow us to keep us. Like I said, our show is January 24th here at the Rock House in El Paso, and the lineup is us and Bloomwave, and then the person who's doing it is Rene Trejo Jr. He's gonna be doing a set in between as well with his friend. It's Dejing. They're supposed to be doing in between sets of us and Bloomwave for their stuff. So that will be what we're looking for on Friday, which will be nice because it's like we're a fan of like we'll play any show with any type of band or music sound and stuff like that. We're very open to wanting to just play shows with different things. I'm a fan of all types of music, so when we get a chance to just play in a different type of scenario and stuff like that, I'm like, why not?
The gatekeeping's for dildos.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we don't want to be known in just one certain scene, like, oh, you're only in the punk scene. But I was like, no, like, we'll do a little bit of everything. Why not? Get out there, have fun, meet new people, meet new promoters, people in the scene, and help to grow it and help the local scene grow and become a better unison in that.
Yeah, we're all about mixing up here. Like my shows, I'll have punk, I'll have death metal, I'll have hip hop and boosty on the same show.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah, and I was gonna say I moved out here in 2021. I lived here before too, but the scene right now in El Paso is all pretty much. I can't think of any bad bands that The punk scene is really good. The electronic scene, like it's really popping out here. Like, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to shout out to the El Paso music scene.
So, thank you guys so much for listening to our TED Talk. No, I'm kidding. But thank you guys. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it. Put on the show and all that,
Appreciate you
man.
guys coming out, man.
For sure, man. And then
Yeah,
and
anytime, man.
any new artist that if you think, oh man, maybe I shouldn't do this battle of bands, or maybe I shouldn't start a band with my friends. Fucking try it. Just fucking try it. We've been going strong for 3 years. We've had our ups and downs, but we're still strong. And these are my brothers. I'm glad. I'm thankful. I'm blessed that I get to play with you sacks of shits, because I didn't want to be the only one smelling like shit on stage. I love you guys.
love you too, Dave.
Yay.
Love you.
Come on, say something well. Say goodbye.
Wipe your butthole.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah, I mean, I just want to thank like all these guys for putting up with my crap, because I can be hard to work with sometimes, and I'm pretty, I like the way I like my things. Like I've struggled to let Zeke do his thing and let everybody else. You know what I mean? But sometimes, like I remember when he first named the song "Anime," and I was just like, "That's I'm not sure if I'm down with that." But it ended up being a great choice, and honestly, like Tick joining the band and just fitting in, and like the luck of finding two guitar players that are as talented as they are, and then like just awesome as they are, just it's honestly just a blessing. And then being able to play in a band with my buddy Chris, who I've known since we were 16, 15, 16, is just a blessing. So I'm happy to be doing this.
It's also one of my favorite things.
Like, toss the mic. Can't hear you, bro.
It's also one of my favorite things to see in the band. Like when I first got here, y'all felt like it felt like y'all were the Goonies, Like when I
Basically what we are, in a sense.
We're just goons.
A band of weird misfits that work together.
well, I told you guys this before, and I had shared the same sentiment with my homies in Hotbox too. Like I never had I had like a group of friends, when you're in school, that group of friends, like the ones that are the losers club or the Goonies. Those I've always liked those kind of
The bad
stories.
news bears.
Bad news bear. I always kind of like those not stories, those kind of friend groups dynamics, and I don't really have that anymore as an adult. So like when I came into the band and I like saw that was like, oh cool, this is one of them. This is one of those groups. I'm like in it now. I get to be a fucking Goonie. I get to be a Goonie. So like, yeah, I love you guys. This is a fucking badass band. and I've throughout my entire, like, I guess you can music career, and big air quotes there. I've been doing it for long enough to be able to say that I've, like, it's a type of career, maybe not a lucrative one, but like all the bands I've played in have all been real cool. Everybody's been generally easy to work with, but like I feel like my golden years are now. Like these bands that I've in right now, y'all are like top tier, best people I've ever worked with in a band. That's what I gotta say. I love you guys.
Love you too, Tick. I think the one thing I can say is I'd like to thank all these guys because like the past 4 to 5 years for all of us has been kind of up and down really bad and stuff like that. And even in between us, we've had our up and down stuff like that. And if there's any advice I could give to anyone out there when it comes to doing something creative, it's hard. It's not easy. You just gotta keep putting it through it. And I'm thankful that I have all these guys with it because they've helped me, I've helped them, and we all work really well together to bring ourselves up when we're down. And even to one thing I could definitely give advice is to understand if it's like one of your bandmates, creative friends, stuff like that is like on a down low, like let them do their thing, be there just to support them and stuff like that, and things usually come out good in the end. Like it's an experience for me, a guy who loved music, ended up quitting it to basically be a family man and stuff like that, and then that went down the shitter, and then getting back to be back into music to play on one of like the
While
best.
still also being a family man.
While still being a fan, yeah, thank you. While like being able to do this and like just kind of dealing with my shit of like, hey guys, let's do this random thing, and everyone's like, are you fucking serious? I'm like, why not? Like, what's the worst that happens? It just nothing happens. Like, why not? It's not even shooting for the stars in a sense. It's just like
Shooting over the fence. Yeah. Before the stars, it has to be the fence.
But like
The rock wall.
the rock wall. But it's like it's great to find this group of people because like when people tell me about what it's like being in the band, at least for me personally with this group, it is every time is like the best therapy session in my life because I get to go in the room with the closest people I could get along with and never be judged for anything I do during that time period, and creatively be able to express yourself. Like to not have that safeness or that boundaries and stuff like that, it like as a creative person, it can really, really destroy you. And this band really lets me, myself, and I see it in everyone else be able to just be themselves, be creative, and make mistakes during practice or try and do something different. Be like, what the hell was that? I don't know, but I tried it. It's like, oh, it didn't work, but it was fun. Or be like, oh, like that was really cool. Like my favorite thing to do, and these guys probably get annoyed about it, is like one, I'm an enabler, so I push, I enable these guys to keep doing things and like pushing them a little bit and stuff like that. But at the same time, I like to bring them up. Like I'm a good hype man in the background. Like Drama comes out with something sick, and like we'll be practicing, and I'll hear it, and I'm like, Drama, that was fucking dope. That little riff he did and everything. Same thing with Will. Will and I had this special moment where the drummer and bass, we just lock eyes every now and then, and we're just like, ooh, that was good. Like we don't even have to talk. It's just like stuff like that.
Like I'm looking at.
Yeah.
Did you feel it, Squidward?
Tick is like a similar fashion too, or like I'll see Tick just doing like a little fucking, he's a little, I was like, oh, what was that, Tick? He's like, I don't know what I did. I was like, that was fantastic. It got my little peepee a little hard. It was nice.
I'm chilling right now.
And then same when it comes
sopping wet, sir.
and say when it comes to Zeke, like he'll just throw out some licks stuff, and that's what I call him. I was like, dude, that was fucking awesome. He's like, I don't know what I said. It's like, God damn it. Like Drama was like, I gotta record. I'm like, thank God for Drama. But I will end this though on my part saying, thank God for Drama. Like you're a fucking lifesaver for this band. I don't know if you know that.
I could say I'm a little older than you guys, and I thought my punk rock days were behind me, like 100%. Not that I was giving up on the dream or anything, but I thought my role would be more behind the scenes. But it's just been the perfect friggin' storm. And I want to say too, this guy on my right, Will, the bass player, he writes some of the best friggin' punk rock riffs you'll ever hear in your life. He's a machine, dude.
Yeah, Will. Yeah, Will.
He is a
Then he's all
friggin'
like,
machine.
Oh, those trash. No, it was. It was good.
Yeah, you got to convince him that it's good. But yeah. Sometimes.
It comes with the territory.
I think we all said our piece.
So Friday, January 24th, hit the Rock House.
Yes, sir.
These dudes live in the flesh.
All right.
You guys have a good night. Appreciate you coming out, man.
Peace.
Thank you, man.